Welcome back to Silent Conspiracy. Picture this. A 32-year-old paranormal investigator who spent his life chasing shadows and speaking to the dead suddenly becomes the mystery he once tried to solve. The morning of July 7, 2016. Gaurav Tiwari, founder of India's first paranormal society and the country's most famous ghost hunter, was found dead in his Delhi bathroom under circumstances so bizarre they sparked nationwide speculation. Was it suicide, murder, or something far more sinister? Tonight, we delve into the death that shocked India's paranormal community and raised questions that remain unanswered to this day. From his transformation from commercial pilot to Ghostbuster, to the cryptic warnings he gave his wife about negative forces, to the thin black line found around his neck, this is the story of how India's most fearless paranormal investigator became the ultimate unsolved mystery. Gaurav Tiwari's journey into the paranormal began not in India's haunted palaces or ancient forts, but in a shared apartment in Florida. Born on September 2, 1984, Tiwari had traveled to the United States at age 21 to pursue his dream of becoming a commercial pilot. But fate had other plans. Living with 4 roommates in Florida, Tiwari began experiencing phenomena that would change his life forever: poltergeist activity, disembodied whispers, and the translucent apparition of a young girl that all 5 residents witnessed. The experiences were so intense that the entire group eventually vacated the apartment, unable to explain the footsteps from the attic and the persistent supernatural encounters. But while his roommates fled, Tiwari was captivated. These experiences sparked an obsession that would define the rest of his short life. Returning to India, Tiwari abandoned his aviation dreams and dove headfirst into paranormal investigation. In 2009, he founded the Indian Paranormal Society, becoming India's first certified paranormal investigator and UFO field investigator. He was also ordained as a minister of the Metaphysical Church of Humanistic Science, claiming the ability to communicate with supernatural beings. Tiwari's expertise quickly caught the attention of television producers. He appeared on popular shows including MTV Girls' Night Out with VJ Ran VJ, Haunted Weekends with Sunny Leone, Fear Files, and the international series Haunting Australia on Sci-Fi. His team became completely dependent on his abilities despite having access to high-tech equipment like full-spectrum cameras. According to the Indian Paranormal Society website, Tiwari had investigated over 6,000 haunted locations during his career, examining hauntings, UFO abductions, and mysterious creatures. He won awards from America's Paranexus Association and became a recognized expert in his field. His paranormal research skills were so strong that his reputation extended internationally, with Australian investigator Alan Tiller collaborating with him on television projects. But success came with a price. Tiwari's nocturnal investigations often kept him out until the early morning hours, causing friction with his family who didn't share his paranormal beliefs. His recent marriage had become strained due to his obsessive dedication to ghost hunting, and his family was concerned about the financial instability of his career. The events leading to Tiwari's death began with what would become his final case. On July 6, 2016, the night before his death, Tiwari was investigating a suspected case of demonic possession involving a young girl in Delhi's Janakpuri area. He returned home around 1:30 a.m., much later than usual, triggering an argument with his wife about his habit of staying out without informing the family. During the fight, Tiwari became so agitated that he threw his mobile phone across the room, breaking it. His father later revealed that hours before his death, Tiwari had also argued with him about his pattern of leaving home without warning and his failure to contribute financially to the household. But there was something else troubling Tiwari, something he had confided to his wife a month earlier, according to his father's statement to police. Tiwari had told his wife that a negative force was pulling him towards it and that he was trying to control it, but seemed unable to do so. His wife had dismissed these concerns, believing he was simply depressed due to work overload. The morning of July 7, 2016, despite the late-night arguments, Tiwari appeared normal the next morning. His father reported that he woke up at 4 a.m. and practiced yoga for about 2 hours before returning to sleep. By all accounts, he seemed fine and was even checking emails just minutes before his death. At approximately 11:30 a.m., family members heard a loud thud coming from the bathroom. Initially, they weren't concerned. Old door latches often get stuck, and bathroom noises weren't unusual. But when Tiwari didn't emerge for nearly an hour, and there were no sounds of running water or movement, His wife, Arya Kashyap, knocked on the door. When there was no response, she peered through the bathroom window and screamed. A neighbor helped break down the door, and they found Tiwari on the floor, unconscious and gasping for breath, with his eyes protruding and sweat covering his body. Most significantly, there was a thin black line around his neck. The family rushed him to the hospital, but doctors declared him dead on arrival approximately 1.5 hours later, before he could even be put on a ventilator. Initial police investigation revealed a confusing crime scene. A clothes hanger was found broken in the bathroom, leading investigators to theorize that Tiwari may have attempted to hang himself from the shower panel. However, the broken hanger raised questions about whether it could have supported his weight long enough to cause death. DCP Southwest Surendra Kumar confirmed that police were investigating whether Tiwari could have strangled himself with his own hands. Extremely rare form of self-inflicted death that requires extraordinary determination. The thin black mark around his neck became the focus of intense speculation, both from investigators and the paranormal community. Police searched Tiwari's house and mobile phone for clues but found nothing substantial. No suicide note was discovered, and family members insisted he had no apparent reasons for taking his own life. He had recently appeared on the cover of Youth Incorporated magazine and had posted on social media just a day before his death. Following the autopsy, Joint Commissioner Dipendra Pathak announced that police had concluded Tiwari committed suicide by hanging himself in the bathroom with a dupatta scarf tied to an iron rod used for hanging clothes. Officials stated there was no evidence of foul play, since all family members were present in the flat when the incident occurred. However, the investigation revealed troubling inconsistencies. The autopsy showed death by asphyxiation, but the exact mechanism remained unclear. Police preserved viscera samples for toxicological examination to determine if poison played a role, but results were never publicly disclosed. The official suicide ruling did little to satisfy Tiwari's followers and the paranormal community. Several factors fueled conspiracy theories. 1. The paranormal connection. Tiwari had spent his career investigating supernatural phenomena and had warned his wife about negative forces pursuing him. Many believed these forces had finally claimed him. 2. The Black Line mystery. Tiwari himself had often referenced the 1976 film, The Omen, when discussing supernatural theories, noting how photographers in the movie found mysterious black lines appearing in photographs of people who later died under strange circumstances. The black line around his neck seemed eerily prophetic. 3. Timing and circumstances. His death occurred just hours after investigating a possession case, and his final social media posts showed no signs of suicidal ideation. 4. The broken hanger. The physical evidence didn't clearly support the hanging theory, as the broken clothes hanger raised questions about the mechanics of his alleged suicide. Several alternative explanations emerged. Homicide. Some investigators initially suspected murder, noting that very few people have the psychological capability to strangle themselves to death manually. However, no evidence of an intruder or struggle was found. Accidental death. The family initially believed Tiwari may have died from trauma after falling on the bathroom floor, possibly during a medical episode. This theory was investigated but not substantiated.
Supernatural intervention?
Paranormal enthusiasts, including international investigator Alan Tiller, suggested that Tiwari's death was connected to the spiritual realm he had spent years exploring. Some pointed to his own warnings about negative forces as evidence. The unanswered questions, nearly a decade after his death, several questions remain unanswered. What exactly caused the thin black line around Tiwari's neck, and how does it relate to his method of death? Why were the viscera toxicology results never made public? What specific negative forces was Tiwari referring to in his conversations with his wife? How did a broken clothes hanger contribute to his death if he supposedly hanged himself from it? Why did someone who appeared normal and was actively working on projects suddenly decide to end his life? Tiwari's death highlighted the intersection between rational investigation and supernatural belief. His transformation from skeptical pilot to devoted paranormal investigator mirrors the journey many take when confronted with unexplained phenomena. Whether his death was suicide, accident, or something more mysterious, it serves as a reminder that some mysteries resist easy explanation. The paranormal community continues to debate his case, with many refusing to accept the official suicide verdict. International collaborators like Alan Tiller have suggested alternative explanations, including the possibility of a heart attack. Meanwhile, Tiwari's family remains convinced that their son and husband had no reason to take his own life. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of Gaurav Tiwari's death is how it mirrors the very phenomena he spent his career investigating: explained circumstances, conflicting evidence, and questions that seem to multiply rather than resolve with time. The man who dedicated his life to solving supernatural mysteries became one himself. In the end, Gaurav Tiwari's greatest investigation may be his own death, a case that remains open not just in police files, but in the minds of everyone who knew him. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, his story raises fundamental questions about the nature of reality, the power of suggestion, and the thin line between psychological distress and supernatural intervention. What do you think happened to Gaurav Tiwari? Is this a tragic suicide, a carefully planned murder, or something beyond our understanding? Could the negative forces he described have been real, or were they manifestations of psychological pressure he couldn't escape? Share your theories in the comments below. If this journey into India's most mysterious paranormal death unsettled you, hit like, subscribe to Silent Conspiracy, and ring the bell. Next time, we'll explore another case where the line between explanation and mystery becomes impossibly blurred. Until then, stay curious and remember that sometimes the greatest mysteries are the ones that hit closest to home.